you being condescending. Just move on, alright? Let's move forward and
Okay, well, check this out, though. First of all, you throwing too many big words at me. Okay, now, because I don't understand them, I'm gonna take them as disrespect. Watch your mouth and help me with the set.
okay, see, now you found yourself a nigga. You looking for a nigga here now, see?
My mind is so spectacular. Open up your aperture. You don't like the light that I be shining, bitch. You Dracula. Southern draw vernacular. Flip you like a spatula. Knew that I was built to put this word up on my scapula. I've been on this road so long, my tires bald. I don't wanna text and no, I don't wanna call. Came in this shit running, bitch. I don't know how to crawl. We ain't never folding, I'm holding the highest car. Look, okay, grew up running post routes. Now I'm on the cash route. Better call the plumber, that boy spitting like a bass spout. All these bad women in this club, fuck is you mad about? Word to all my estheticians, boy, I'm about to lash out. Straight from St. John's to the east side. Jigging since a knee high. Watch the way I put on for my state, nigga, yeehaw. Respecting no Aretha. Crazy how I made it to the league from the bleach eyes. Boy, my shit hair wrong. Black, rich, and bare arms. Smoking on that yogi, this shit stronger than some bare arms. Goku, I'm in rare form. You cannot prepare for him. When I swing, it's like a carnivore. This shit ain't fair for him. Brought intellect back to this rap shit. You niggas need chapstick. Shit been dry for way too long, and I'm the matchstick. You niggas Nickelodeon me. I'm more like Cap Nick. Cap a nigga, throw him in front of me. Party favors on the table, you can pick and choose. I would be lying if I said it, I don't get confused. I'm just a player in the game and I don't pick the rules. Why trouble always seem to find the ones with shit to lose. About to blow like we just lit the fuse. We double dutch into this dough, I get this shit in twos. Push the button, get it started, put that shit in cruise. A little dust up on his heart, I barely get to use. A fool flatters himself, a wise man flatters a fool. Man, I just came to get it started like mechanics with tools. Cause in my hood, if you don't pack a tool, you planning to lose. These young boys deserve Oscars, they be acting a fool. A couple loose screws, but they hammer accurate. Ooh, I know some niggas stuck on drugs and manufacture it too. School of hard knocks, we all got our bachelor's. Food, no cap and gowns, but we all had the master. Party favors on the table, you can pick and choose. I would be lying if I said it, I don't get confused. I'm just a player in the game and I don't pick the rules. Why trouble always seem to find the ones with shit to lose. I'm dumb lit, it's about to be a late night. Fresh rack, shawty, show me what it tastes like. Niggas know me in my city like I'm Wayne Wright. Got them looking up to me and we the same height. Ooh, I got it bad, deep in my bag. Foot on the gas, they cannot last. Swimming with the sharks, bitch, that's a great white. Never stopping, we don't even need a brake light. Say she don't smoke, but she always smoke with me, yeah. Backwards in the air, back up in the ovaries, yeah. All my ops, they stay running like they over easy. Even my masseurs can't just get too close to me, yeah. Shout out to Next. Soon as the ink dry, we count out the checks, yeah. I never flex. I bought up a business, you bought up a section. I'm at the top of my class, yeah. Y'all never learned from your lesson. Skywalker gave me the force, yeah. Turn this into an obsession, yeah. I couldn't wait on the team, cooking shit up with just me rolling flag, yeah. Things never are what they seem, but we know the facts, yeah. Charging that shit to the game, but now I pull up with a battery pack, yeah. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, and we can just leave it at that. I'm dumb lit, it's about to be a late night. Fresh rack, shawty, show me what it tastes like. Niggas know me in my city like I'm Wayne Wright. Got them looking up to me and we the same height. Ooh, I got it bad, deep in my bag. Foot on the gas, they cannot last. Swimming with the sharks, bitch, that's a great white. Never stopping, we don't even need no brake lights. Big bro, why they call you big bro? Every time we hit the bank, we deposit zip codes. Well connected with the streets like we out in Skid Row.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. I'm your host, Mr. BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos, hit that like button. Y'all come in here, hit the share, subscribe. hit that Cash App, $BJ Matthews, $BJ Matthews for all this great content. We drop it on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Also, as well, if you guys do not have Cash App, you can go to our Venmo. Venmo is at BJ/MATHEWS/1. You guys can show your love to our Venmo. And last but not least, make sure you guys hit that super sticker, super comment button right below in the right-hand corner, right in the chat box. If you guys have something that y'all want to drop in there, make sure y'all continuously support the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Let's get it popping. All right, y'all. So we talking about some NBA news. First of all, shout out to my man Dejan with that, you know what I'm saying, the music that he just put up in our intro. That is our music for the pull-up show. Great artist, you know what I'm saying. Went to college with him. He's in his music career. So if you guys want to follow him, man, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, or Twitter, his name is on the actual intro in the right-hand corner, Dejan Jackson. Great talented artist, man. That's my guy. So y'all make sure y'all follow him and support him. And yeah, let's get it going, man. I know I've been away for a few days, man. Actually, you know, weird story. My computer screen actually broke, so I haven't been able to do any real lives as of late. So I'm doing all these pre-recorded videos from my phone, but it should be ready by before Sunday's show. We should have my computer back. So y'all just hold tight with me. But this is another pre-recorded video. I want y'all to hit the like button. Y'all come in here. So I actually been hearing some noise upon, you know what I'm saying, ESPN and stuff like that, that a particular player is supposed to come back with a vengeance this year, and that's Mr. Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? Ja Morant obviously is a player that very exciting, high flying point guard who plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. He will be coming back, you know, for an entire season this year after just being, you know, pretty much, you know, out of the league for about an entire season because of, you know, outside trouble and issues. You know, he came back a little bit, you know, during the year last year, played 9 games, and he played pretty well in his 9 games in his return, but then he broke his elbow, and you know, he decided to sit the rest of the year out. But there's 2 discussions I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about this Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards comparison, and then number 2, I want to talk about how dangerous are the Memphis Grizzlies going to next year. So I want y'all to sit back and relax. First of all, let me talk about this Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards comparison right now. Now, obviously, it's kind of like why you guys want to talk about Anthony Edwards is because the same reason why I just said. I saw, you know, a post by a particular person on ESPN speaking on, you know, these two. And Kendrick Perkins said, I'm looking at Ja Morant to get his seat back from Anthony Edwards. Okay. Now, like I said, Ja Morant, before last season, was looked at as being one of the faces of the NBA. You know, he was compared to Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, high-flying point guards like that. That's who Ja Morant was compared to. And Anthony Edwards obviously has taken his game to another level, especially this past year, getting to the Western Conference Finals. And now it looks like he is the guy that, you know what I'm saying, is going to be the up-and-coming guy, you know, being compared to Michael Jordan. And it's a fun discussion to have, you know, because we're going to have this discussion right now between Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards. And what I think about the comments, you know, Kendrick Perkins made, as well as, you know, is Memphis going to be a dangerous team this year? So let's get it started. So obviously, you know, a little bit of a backdrop between these two. Ja is 24, about to turn 25 in approximately about 9 days on August the 10th. And you got, you know, Anthony Edwards was at 22 years old. So there's a 3-year difference between the two. You look at the seasons they've been in the NBA. They both been in the season, the league. Well, Ja Morant's been playing for 5. Anthony Edwards been playing for 4. You got one guy who spent more time in college than the other. I think Ja Morant spent all 4 years at Murray State. Was it all 4 years or was it 3? It was I think it was 3 years if I'm not mistaken. He went to Murray State, which is a mid-major Division I school. And then you got Anthony Edwards, who spent 1 year at Georgia, University of Georgia. That's why the years are so close, even though they're 3 years apart in age. They both played 3 playoff years. Both 2 All-Star games, both 1 All-NBA team. In the Rookie of the Year, Ja Morant had 1 to Anthony Edwards 0. As y'all come here, smash that like button. Now, I'm gonna give my honest assessment on what I think about these two. Obviously, one guy in Ja Morant and the other guy Anthony Edwards, they play, two different styles of basketball, in my personal opinion. You got Ja Morant, like I just mentioned earlier. He's compared to Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook. He's a high flyer. He depends a lot on his athleticism, getting in the paint with his teardrop, a lot of different spin moves and, crossovers, things of that nature. That's the type of player he is. He's an exciting, high flying player. He was a guy that, like I said, was looked at as being the face of the league. A lot of kids, the gritty dance he used to do. A lot of people, took a liking to Ja Morant. So that's what he is. And that's what he was before he got into the legal issues last year. Vice versa, Anthony Edwards, who is also very well liked. He also is a guy who is, in my opinion, like I said before, going to be the best player in the league in the next 3 years. I said that about 2 years ago. About 3 to 5 years, he will be the best player in the NBA. So he's 22 right now. I'll give to him he's about 24, 25. I said he'll be the best player in the NBA. You got the comparisons to Michael Jordan. He's a 6'5", strong off guard who can shoot, who plays both ways of the basketball, who's athletic, just like Ja Morant, and he also plays defense. So those are kind of the things I look at. I look at the measurements. I look at the intangibles. I look at the type of leader you are. I look at all that. You know what I'm saying, to see what type of player you are. So in saying that, Kendrick Perkins is saying Ja Morant's going to take his seat back from Anthony Edwards. I strongly disagree. First off, let me just be very, 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 very honest with y'all. Like I said, Ja Morant's a very, very electrifying player. Ja Morant's a high flyer. He's a guy that, is exciting to watch. If you want to watch must-see basketball, you got to turn on TV for Ja Morant. Just because you're going to see a highlight pretty much almost every game. A lot like D Rose was. But I've always thought he was overrated. Meaning, because of one great season he had, and I'm talking about the year that they went to against Golden State. Because of that one season, and he took them as the second seed in the Western Conference Finals. I always thought that he was a player that just kind of just got stuff without even really accomplishing anything in the postseason. Right? Him being the face and him being better than this player, being better than that player, being better than this. I remember I used to tell people, there's a lot of players I put over Ja Morant. I would have put Donovan Mitchell over Ja Morant, even though they're, a little bit different in age. But you have people saying Ja Morant's better than Donovan Mitchell. When just the year previously, they took out the Memphis Grizzlies in 5 games. I said De'Aaron Fox was better than Ja Morant. Right? De'Aaron Fox had that one great, breakout year, where they got the Kings to the 3rd seed. I thought De'Aaron Fox was a better player than Ja Morant all around. He's just as fast. He's faster with the ball. He's athletic, and he plays defense. And I think he has a better jump shot than Ja Morant. I thought he was better. I just thought Sacramento was such a bad team. He didn't get the credit he deserved. But as far as who De'Aaron Fox and Ja Morant, where I thought De'Aaron Fox was a better player. I thought Anthony Edwards, I've always thought he had better upside than Ja Morant. Y'all can go back and look at my videos. I said Anthony Edwards would be the best player in the league in the next 3 to 5 years. So there's a number of players that I think is better than Ja Morant, who has a better upside, who has a better overall game. I think SGA is a better player than Ja Morant. I think he proved that this year. in the postseason, not just the regular, in the postseason. Because I think what it was happening is, and I fell for this too when I used to watch him, and Derrick Rose, I used to fall for that whole Derrick Rose hype as well. Like, I think D Rose was a great, great athlete, great, great talent. But could his game transition to this era now with Steph Curry being like an outside shooter, he, you know what I'm saying, changing the game the way he did, could D Rose's game translate to this right now? And when I say translate, could he still be that same impactful player, having to know how to shoot the ball consistently? Because let me tell y'all something about shooting basketball. Just like at being athletic and being, you know what I'm saying, a high flyer, you can only be so good if you're not blessed with a certain touch and a certain ability to shoot. You're pretty much limited. I look at John Morant kind of like that player. You know, his jump shot from the 3-point range is a set shot. He's gotten better at it, but I don't see that guy. You know what I'm saying, you live with his jump shot to win a series. I don't see that from him. I see a guy who's one dimensional. I see a guy who relies more on his athleticism and his spring and his, you know what I'm saying, his jumping ability more than anything. I had a friend that, is from New Orleans, who knows John Morant's agent, and he saw him work out this past summer. And he told me personally that John Morant's going to be, big time this season. I said, what do you mean? He said he's working out with the weight vest. He's going to be definitely dangerous this year. And I said, well, we know he's athletic. We know he can jump. We know that he's going to, you know what I'm saying, be explosive. That's not the problem with John Morant I've always had. One problem with him is that, number one, he plays too elusive, right? And that kind of goes to, like, his injuries. People get on, you know what I'm saying, Kawhi Leonard for being out, not playing a certain number of games during the season. This guy, John Morant, hasn't reached 70 games yet. And he's only about to be 25. He's only in his 5th season. He has not reached 70 games, not 1 year in his career. Why do y'all think that is? Why is he's 67, 63, 57, 61, and 9 games? He has not reached not 1 year of 70 games yet. If you go back and look at Kawhi Leonard, who people say he's so injury prone, he reached 70 plus games. Joel Embiid has reached 70 plus games, right? But these guys get the, label that they're so injury prone. This guy hasn't reached 70 games yet, as y'all can see in the first 2 columns. You know what I'm saying? How you not reach 70 games? You're only 25 years old. It's because of the way he plays. He plays erratic. He goes to the basket, but he doesn't know how to fall properly. And there's a certain way you're supposed to fall when you get hit and go to the ground. Obviously, he has not learned that. But he's also 6 foot. What is he? 6'3", 1. He's pretty skinny. He's pretty frail. So when he takes those hits, when them bigs, and he goes down, that's taking a hit every single time he gets to the basket. He doesn't play. He has to be protected on defense, right? He doesn't have a consistent J, meaning I'm not saying he can't shoot the 3 ball here and there, but he's not a guy that you look at and say he's going to be able to rely on that shot to win games. He's going to get into the paint. He's going to use his teardrop. He's going to use, you know what I'm saying, his athletic ability to finish over somebody. You know what I'm saying? He's a pretty solid free throw shooter, surprisingly. But that's what he's going to use. That's who he is. And I don't see that changing. And if that's going to be how he is, I don't put him over a guy like Anthony Edwards, where when I look at him, and I think people are comparing Anthony Edwards 3 years ago from what he is now. This dude's a different person, different player from when he was 19, 20 to now he's at 22 years old. Anthony Edwards, if you hit him, he's not going to be the type of player that's just going to, you know what I'm saying, fall down to the ground and not get up and be injured. He's a 6'5", 220-pound plus player. So, and when I look at their playoff performances, y'all remember they faced 1 year in the playoffs in 2022. And this is what Anthony Edwards averaged against Ja Morant in the playoffs. 25 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in 6 games versus Ja Morant. That's what it was averages were. 25.2 to be exact. You go to Ja Morant averaging 21.5, 10.5 assists, and 8.7 rebounds in 6 games versus Anthony Edwards in the playoffs his career. Now, you guys may ask me, well, who was the better player in that series? Well, if you look at that year in the playoffs in 2022, first of all, like I said, Anthony Edwards, I think, was 19 years old. He was, because I think that was the year that they faced my Clippers and they beat us in the play, and that was the year. And then they faced Memphis in the playoffs. And Anthony Edwards, that was the moment I knew that this dude was going to be a problem for years to come, because he was mature beyond his years. He was able to rise to the occasion, rise to the moment. He wasn't scared. And I said, this guy's going to be a problem for the next few years. I saw the potential. I saw how he shot the ball. He had a very, very nice jump shot. He still has a very, very good jump shot. He can get to the basket. He's strong. He plays both ways of the basketball. He's a leader. And when I saw him face Ja Morant in that series, even though the Grizzlies won, I saw Ja Morant struggle against guys like Anthony Edwards, against guys like Jared Vanderbilt, against guys like, you know what I'm saying, whatchamacallit, who's the other player? I can't even think. He was number 3. I can't even think. Jay McDaniels. There you go. He struggles with guys who have length to them. That's why I know it's with a guy like Ja Morant. If you put a player who's lengthy, who has size, who has, you know what I'm saying, girth, not to say that they can stop him, but you watch that series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Ja Morant struggled that series. In my opinion, I thought Desmond Bane was the best player in that series. I thought he was the best player on the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm sorry. Ja Morant's a one-dimensional type of player. And he's going to be the same this year. You don't get better shooting the ball if you've never been a shooter or a person that can, doesn't have the mechanics. You can even look at his jump shot. His mechanics are not, really there. Like now, like I said, though, not to say that you can just leave him open all the time, because he is going to hit some. But he's not an all-around better player than Anthony Edwards whatsoever. So I don't know what this whole he's going to take his seat back. First of all, Anthony Edwards has already done more than Ja Morant. He got his team to the conference finals, and he's on the Team USA playing and looking to win a gold champ. You think he's going to give his seat back to Ja Morant? You think he's going to give his seat back to him after what he's been accomplishing at such a young age? Anthony Edwards his confidence is just going to improve more and more. He got a taste of the conference finals. When you have a player like that, they usually build off of, their success. Anthony Edwards, from what I see, he's a worker. He's not satisfied. He's ultra confident. You know what I mean? He's a player that's going to, he's going to make his stamp. He's going to make his stamp known. And I look at a guy like Ja Morant, who, once again, they like to talk for him, or he talks for himself about what he's finna do. He's finna be this. He's finna be this. He's gonna do that. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. That's the type of person Ja Morant is. He does a lot of, wolfing. He does a lot of talking. That's how he gets his, what I'm saying. He does a lot of tongue wrestling. That's what they like to call it. Anthony Edwards just goes out there and hoops. Now he does, Anthony Edwards does, talk and make, jokes and stuff like that. But it's just two different auras in my personal opinion. And I saw this 3 years ago. I seen it. I saw the guy who was, a great talent, and, what I'm saying, a person that's going to be, must watch TV in Ja Morant. But I see that in a lot of players. There's been a lot of high dynamic point guards who can, what I'm saying, be a high flyer, who can jump, the Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, De'Aaron Fox. At this point, there's a lot of high flying athletic point guards right now who are exciting to watch. Who's been in the past, who's been exciting. Allen Iverson, fast with the ball. That's a dime a dozen. You find that in damn near every draft, almost. You got a player who's an exciting point guard to watch, who's around 6'2" to about 6'4", who can, jump out the gym, who's fast with the ball, who's electrifying, who's, you know what I'm saying? You find that in almost every draft. But you don't find an Anthony Edwards in every draft who has girth, who has size, who can play both ways in the basketball, and his intangibles are there. His confidence is there. His leadership is there. You don't see that. That's more of a rarity. So I'm about to respectfully disagree with Perkins. Ja Morant ain't taking shit back from Anthony Edwards. Now let me go to the Memphis Grizzlies. This is what I want to say about this. The Grizzlies are a team that a lot of people are looking at is going to make some noise in the Western Conference. Now, we know last year the Memphis Grizzlies struggled because of a number of things. Of course, their leader in Ja Morant was not there for the majority of the season. But also there's a lot of different moves that they made that they let some of their players go. I want y'all to kind of see the standings right now of, last season as y'all come here and smash that like button. You look at Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, Los Angeles Clippers, Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, LA Lakers, New Orleans Pelicans, Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors, Houston Rockets, Utah Jazz, Memphis Grizzlies, San Antonio Spurs, and the Portland Trail Blazers. Cool. Those are the 15 teams in the Western Conference. As y'all know, the Western Conference is a gauntlet. There's a lot of teams that's going to be competitive. There's a lot of teams that's going to be fighting for position. And I personally think that, there's going to be some mix-up in the West. Now, what I want to say is this. Because we're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies. They were 27-55 last year. The 2 years before that, they were the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Right? The 2 years before that, they were the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. So they took a huge hit last year. They were looked at as one of the worst teams in the NBA. Right? And I look at the West right now, I look at all these teams. Each one of these teams are going to be fighting for, a playoff spot outside of two teams, in my personal opinion. That's the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trail Blazers. I just think those two teams are looking to rebuild, looking to get younger, looking for draft picks. I don't think they're really looking for, much of anything else. You got Utah, who just signed our guy, Musa Diabate. He was a young player who couldn't really get any minutes. They're picking up a lot of draft picks. They got guys like Keontae George, who's a young up-and-coming player. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're looking to get off Lauri Markkanen, who's their best player, but he's just kind of over there, just being there. You got the Portland Trail Blazers, who just picked up Deontay Graham, who's a player from the Spurs, who's a young player. You got guys like DeAndre Ayton, who's a guy they brought over there to be a piece. But it's just a lot of okay players on both those teams, so they're not really playing for much other than the future. And those are the teams that I'm looking at. They're not going to really be competitive for the playoffs. Everybody else is going to be open season. The Spurs, they're going to be competing next year with Chris Paul being added to that squad. Victor Wembanyama going to have another great year next year. Probably going to win some accolades. You got the Houston Rockets, who's going to be, a great up-and-coming team with the promise they had last year, going on that huge run towards the end of the season. They're going to be, a winning culture over there. The Warriors are going to, try to, make some magic happen. And then just so on and so on. Everybody else above the Warriors, made the play-in, made the playoffs. And, that's just what it's going to be. So when I look at the team like the Grizzlies, where do they fall in? Where do they fall into this suit? Well, I just said they went 27-55, which was a horrible record. So I want to look at their roster, what they have right now going into next season. As y'all come here, smash that like button. So if you look at a lot of the players they have, it's very different from a couple years ago when they had that playoff roster. They let go of Dylan Brooks. He's in Houston now. They let go of Steven Adams, who's also in Houston, if I'm not mistaken. They let go of Zaire Williams, the forward who was, a high flyer, the skinny light skinned dude with the headband. He's over in, if I'm not mistaken, where is he at? He moved. I don't know. Is he in Minnesota? If I'm not mistaken, I want to say he is. If he isn't, then yeah. But he's somewhat. He's not with the Grizzlies no more. He was a guy. I think. Yeah, he's not with the Grizzlies no more. So those are three. Pieces that they had to their core last year around John Morant. Triple J and Desmond Bain. So it's a very different year, very different team. Some of the players that they have now that they picked up, of course, is Marcus Smart, who was a championship point guard, defensive point guard, if I want to be exact. They picked him up last year from the Boston Celtics. You got, the Jordan Goodwin guy, who's 25 years old, who's a very, average good player. Luke Kennard, the shooter, just signed a 1-year deal yesterday. Then you go, from there, you got guys like Brandon Clark, who's going to be coming back from, injury. Torn Achilles. Zach Edey, who they just drafted, top in the draft this year, 7'4" big. And then you look down even further down from that, they got guys like Vince Williams Jr., who's their quote unquote defensive guy. Yuta Watanabe, who's their 3-point sniper. But like I said, there's a lot of guys on this roster that they switched up a lot of things, from 2 years ago. So this is the squad that was 27-55 last year. Now, the Clippers, we played them 4 times this past year, which I don't really even take really to heart because, it wasn't 4. I think it was 3 times. Yeah, we played them 3 times this year. I'm going to be honest with y'all about the Grizzlies. I would need to see before I start putting them up, above this team, above that team, because like I said, they lost some pieces to their team that really had to give them success, on that run. Dillon Brooks, for all intents and purposes, people want to talk about Dillon Brooks as this, that, and the other. But y'all see him in Houston right now. He got a 4-year deal, and, apparently Ime Udoka loves Dillon Brooks, right? He's that player on that team that's able to bring a certain level of toughness that every team championship squad needs. Outside of the antics he has with LeBron James, you need a player like Dillon Brooks on your team to protect your star and to go at the other team's opposing star. They lost Steven Adams, who is a person that was kind of their enforcer inside, who had that veteran presence. But I think it was time for Steven Adams to leave Memphis because what you had was a bunch of young guys who didn't really understand how to be professional and be mature outside of basketball, not inside the lines, outside the lines. I'm talking about John Morant. And I think personally, Steven Adams grew tired of it, and they had to get him up out of here. That's why they brought in Zach Edey, who is a player, who has the size kind of similar to Steven Adams at 7'4". And then you got Zaire Williams, who's not there no more. They lost him. They lost that point guard. I can't even think of his name. He was their Tyus Jones. They lost Tyus Jones, right? A lot of people don't know Tyus Jones was more of a better point guard than John Morant, meaning he was able to run the offense better than John Morant. More of a consistent floor leader than John Morant. People don't give that starting 5 a lot of credit, but that bench that people don't remember actually helped the Grizzlies win all those games with John Morant being out for the majority of the season. Y'all remember, the year they made it to the playoffs, John Morant missed a huge chunk of the season. I think they had like a winning record. They went like 17-3 or something like that without John Morant. That's unheard of. Your superstar, they're able to continuously have that fourth down. They kept DeAnthony Melton, who came off the bench. Great defensive, guard. So they lost about 4 or 5 pieces to that team that they're trying to now replace with all these up-and-coming players. So the same way with them saying that, John Morant's going to be better than Anthony Edwards or, Kendrick Perkins saying that. I like I said, And again, a lot of this stuff revolves around the type of player you are. The Memphis Grizzlies are starting how are about to get all this recognition, overhype. Because I believe in their personal opinion. This ain't no disrespect, but I think John Morant's overhyped. I think personally, John Morant, like I said again, and I'll continue to say it, is getting a lot of praise for being just an exciting point guard off of one season. But when I look at a great player, I look at what their entire game is. For example, when the Grizzlies played the Lakers that year in the playoffs and they lost, I believe, in 6 games, they got blew out the gym. That game right there, I was watching. The Grizzlies had they could not shoot the 3 ball. They were not consistently able to make shots. Ja Morant was a player, again, with, had to pretty much settle for the 3-point shot because the Lakers had interior defense to really, contest them going to the basket. That's what I'm talking about when he doesn't really have much to go to if he's not able to get into the paint. He doesn't have a consistent midi. He doesn't have a consistent 3-point shot. So his whole thing is I need to get to the paint to do what I need to do and do my damage. A guy like Anthony Edwards can get wherever he needs to go. And only time he doesn't really use his mid-range shot is when he chooses not to. But if you ask him to shoot like about 8 to 10 threes, if you ask him to, get into the paint, he can pretty much do whatever he wants to do physically. Ja Morant doesn't have that ability. So, like I said, I watch how players are on a grand scale to rank them. I think SGA is another player. He's not as explosive. I think he's a great example to show that you can be better than somebody just off a simple skill, poise, clutchness, and being a two-way player. SGA is also another two-way player. So Ja Morant has a lot of work to do to get back to what he was. But like I said, these players already are so comfortable, and they've already taken a taste of the postseason that you don't come in say I'm gonna take this and take that. Again, that's just more you talking. You come in there with a mindset that I'm gonna come in here through the back door and take what's mine. That's the mindset Ja Morant needs to have. Mainly say my team wasn't trash last year. I'm coming in looking to be a presence to help build my team back up. We ain't done shit. We lost a bunch of players. We have to prove ourselves yet again because 2 years that's a long time from what it is right now. I think people are looking at Anthony Edwards from 2 years ago instead of looking into him right now. This guy is, like I said, he's in Team USA right now in Paris, looking to possibly win a gold medal. Usually when players have that success, they build off of that. You saw Anthony Edwards last year in the Olympics when one of the best players in the league, and he had a breakout year this year. You saw him get to the conference finals. Now he's going to win possibly a gold medal this year. This dude is not going in there looking to settle for nothing. He goes at players who he admires. You saw him go at Kevin Durant in the playoffs. They swept the Phoenix Suns this year. Swept them out the gate. Right? They beat the Denver Nuggets, who were the defending world champions. They lost to the Dallas Mavericks, which is going to be a learning experience for him. This guy's 22 years old, and he's already accomplished more than Ja Morant. And you're telling me that he's going to somehow take his seat back? Nah, it don't work like that. So, basically, like I said, man, I think Ja Morant's going to be exciting to watch. I think the Grizzlies, personally, and I didn't answer this question, are they going to be a top seed in the West? Well, I don't see them being better than Minnesota or being better than OKC. Denver, maybe Denver, maybe. I have to see. I don't. I can't even say Denver because the only thing with Denver they have to do is fix their bench. Now they picked up Russell Westbrook and they got rid of Reggie Jackson. To me, that's kind of an upgrade. Even they lost a couple pieces in Bruce Brown and Jeff Green, and they lost KCP this year. they still have a better player if they face up between Nikola Jokic and John Morant. Now, what's interesting is Memphis has had success against Denver throughout the past couple of years, but in the postseason, like I said, I think Denver's experience, I think that their offensive scheme, and I think what they have, their experience is able to outshine Memphis. You got Minnesota. Well, we'll see with Minnesota. Like I said, I think Anthony Edwards is better than John Morant, but I gotta see how their team comes back because they did lose some pieces as well. I gotta see how Karl-Anthony Towns is able to, prevail this upcoming year. The Clippers. The Clippers could easily, if Kawhi Leonard's on, let me tell y'all again, I'm gonna say it again. If Anthony Leonard is healthy, let me make this very, very clear. If Kawhi Anthony Leonard is healthy, and I'm saying healthy, I'm talking about he's able to play somewhere between 60 and 65 games and complete a playoffs for the first time. This team can go as far as the Western Conference Finals. I'm going to say that again. If this man is on the court healthy, they can go to the Western Conference Finals. The Grizzlies have no body for this dude. Ja Morant, again, like I've said before, he's a player who's gotten hype over one season. They have nobody better than this guy on that team. And that's what usually elevates your team to be a great team if your best player is there. So it depends. If the Clippers are healthy and Kawhi Leonard is playing at MVP status, no, I'm not putting the Grizzlies over them. I'm not putting the Grizzlies over them. Hell no. If I look at a team like the Mavericks who just came off in the finals, you can't put the Grizzlies over them either. As much as I make fun of the Mavericks and say that they are this, that, and the other, somebody like Luka to me has proven he's now a top 5 player in the NBA. I think he's a better player than Ja Morant. You got Kyrie Irving, who's a dynamic second player. They have no second player over, Kyrie Irving. They picked up pieces around those two players, which now they have interior presence and they have, defense around Luka and Kyrie Irving. I don't think the Grizzlies have that. They're not ready for that. The Suns, yeah, they can be better than Phoenix. They can beat Phoenix because Phoenix is more of an offensive team. They're not a defensive team. So it's kind of like against Minnesota, a young, inexperienced team can beat them. So Memphis, who's hungry right now, who has some, they have, a little bit of veteran leadership and, Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose, who's more of a mentor. They can make some noise against them. The Lakers, I think the Lakers are a bad matchup for Memphis. I think the Lakers are a horrible matchup for Memphis. We've seen that shit in the play-in, and we've seen that in the playoffs. And now, there was last time we saw them in the postseason. They were the Lakers were the 7th seed. Ja Morant, they were in the 2nd seed that year, and they were Ja Morant had that hurt hand, but he hit the game 5. He had a I think he had a monster game. So that hand seemed to be okay before that game 6, but it just, again, the scheming and the personnel that the Lakers had was, a defensive team that was able to somewhat offset Memphis, who don't really have, who didn't really have much of, inside presence. We'll see how Zach Edey, and Gigi Williams are able to, prevail. The Pelicans, the Grizzlies, I think are better than the Pelicans. They seem to always have their hand in the regular season for whatever reason. The Kings, it's possible they can be better than Memphis, but y'all see how far I'm going down? All right. So it's like I said, man. You can sit up there and say all you want about Ja Morant. Going to lead the Grizzlies to this, that, and the other. But like I said, when I look at the West, you got the Suns, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Warriors, and the Rockets are the only teams, and then the Spurs possibly as well. But you never know about the Spurs either. But the top teams, if everybody's on an even playing field, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the T-Wolves, the Clippers, the Mavericks, the Lakers, I think all these teams will be better than the Memphis Grizzlies. So I don't know if people haven't looked at the standings. I don't know if people haven't looked at the rosters or the personnel, the type of team that they have. But where does Memphis crack all of a sudden the top this, top that? They, like I said, a lot of stuff done changed up in the Western Conference. Right? Denver's now a championship caliber team. OKC they got better with their picks. They pretty much that damn Sam Presti is a genius. He picked up two guys that were able to fix their defense and give guys like SGA and Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, real, help. Because what I saw with that OKC Dallas series was not a team that so much was better as far as, as a basketball, as far as basketball wise. I'm talking about Dallas. I saw a team that just got pretty much bullied on the boards. I'm talking about Chet Holmgren, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. Those guys pretty much, Derek Lively pretty much made it hard for Chet Holmgren to be physical. So you have to bring in a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso, who's going to be all over that damn glass, grabbing rebounds, playing defense on the opposing team's best player. You know what I'm saying? They made chess moves to be able to push their chances next year. OKC next year is going to be even better. Minnesota, they may take a dip. We don't know. But I'm not putting a Memphis over none of these teams because Memphis ain't this shit. Memphis has not done enough to be even looked at as a top team right now. Ja Morant ain't done enough to be over Anthony Edwards right now, as crazy as that sounds. So Memphis, it ain't nothing personal, but y'all, that to me is I don't see it. Maybe they might prove me wrong. I don't know, but I don't see it right now. But I hope that y'all like this video, man. Hit the like button, to share, subscribe, hit the Cash App, $BJ Matthew, $BJ Matthew for all this great content. Pull up, pull up, check, pull live, pace out of here like swim well.
Like that. Woo!